with that, we're back. I don't know if you heard the mic drop, but it happened. It's one of those things. Sometimes you see us and we're all smiling, we're all happy, we're all hey, it's a great day to be alive, right? Well, every day is a great day to be alive. Some days are a little bit more funner to talk about. And today, if you're not angry, I don't know who you are or where you are because you should definitely be angry about the game, about the last three games, and it should be kind of like one, two, three, where you're getting angrier in those levels. And it's one of those things. No one should be boiling, but there's definitely some changes that need to happen. There's definitely something that's maybe in the water. I don't know. We've seen in the past where we've went back east and we've stayed back east. And we've done okay on the road, and then we come in, we lay a goose egg when we get back home. So is it jet lag? Is it travel? Is it the nasty peanuts they give you on the plane? I can't tell you guys, but I know we didn't stay back east this time. We've had injuries, and I can tell you, this isn't going to be a show where we're sitting back saying, "I told you so, I told you so." But everybody's screaming, "BA is the number one wide receiver. Where's he at?" Everybody's saying, "I'll get rid of Debo." Well, Debo's not here right now. I want Debo back. And if anybody wants to say, Trent Williams needs to retire anytime soon, you're crazy. But we definitely need somebody to fill in on the other side. And for all you McGlinchey haters out there, we were running the ball pretty well when he was here. Now he's not here. And we're not doing anything very well. So we went and signed Hargrave. We let a couple players go last year. Maybe we kept the wrong ward. I personally have always called him Hospital Ward. He never could seem to be healthy, but when he's on the field, he does really good, and he can play a lot of different positions. But since Jimmy Ward's been gone, we don't seem to have a hitter. We don't have somebody who's wrapping up. We have all these people who want to lead with their shoulder, and that's great, putting a big hit on somebody. But if you're not like closing in and wrapping up, folks, wrap up. It's safer that way, and there's not going to be a pause to that. There's two meanings to that. You take the one you want. I'm not completely mad, but I definitely would like to understand a little bit more. Is it just the injuries, guys? Is it just a scenario? I know we have so many players and so many guys out, but we also have a lot of teams that are coming off buys that are playing us. So does that have something to do with it? I want to give it to you guys. First off, thank you, David McNair, for coming. Aaron, 49 First Take, for being here. Daniel Berry Sports Highlight, we see you. Yo! And Tony Culp, the beautiful one and only. Thank you all for being here. You guys make the chat pop. So, guys, what's your thoughts? We'll start with David. David, how you doing? And then we'll go to Aaron, and then we'll get into this this great topic before Halloween. Because I'm not going to say I'm scared, but I'm starting to get a little bit frightened.
We've had 3 straight weeks of bad football. Discipline-wise, a lot of people point out, oh, you guys only have 5 penalties. We only had 5 accepted penalties. We did have more than that. And running to the right side, I was just watching the all 22. I watched the condensed version of the game because I didn't have it on TV. And running to the right side is like, you might as well just be running right into a block wall. So Spencer Burford kind of been disappointment to me. He's young. I figure he was getting better as the season went last year. Hopefully he kept that trajectory up, and he's not. Colton McKivitz, he is a decent pass blocker, but run blocking is not his forte. And now I learned before we hopped on here, guys, that Aaron Banks has turf toe.
Yep.
So, and Kyle said a couple weeks. Who knows what that means? That could be a month. You will just have to keep an eye on that situation and see how it goes. Trade deadline looming Tuesday. I don't know what to expect at this point. You never know what to expect. You hear all the news you hear is pretty much from other teams that were checking in on things. You won't hear news about a trade from us until it actually happens.
How you doing, Aaron? What's your thoughts? First off, it's Monday morning. Happy armchair quarterback Monday. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Hope you know it. Man, how you feeling?
Not good. Not good. This this loss to me was actually not. Let's not even talk about this loss. Let's just go back to the fact that I think as 49er fans, we expect this team to automatically return to the championship game like last year, right? Everything was a given. Everything was a foregone conclusion. And even myself, I let my mind kind of go there. Like, yeah, we're the best team in the NFC minus the Eagles, right? We got this. Smooth sailing. 5-0. I bought into the hype just like everybody else. I bought into the Purdy hype just like everybody else. And then you kind of think back to the offseason and the last couple off seasons. You got a lot of guys getting paid, right? Paid, made, and laid. And yet we haven't won anything. And it's discouraging because the way that this front office and franchise run things, you would think that we've won multiple Super Bowls. John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan get extensions before the season starts. And it's just, as the season started, when we started, it was at like 3-0, I think. We started 3-0 or so I forget exactly when that happened. And I feel like the players, like the fans, lulled themselves into a comfortable position where they thought they were untouchable or unbeatable. That game against Dallas was as good as we've seen the team play all year. And I feel like I've had this question on YouTube. I've had this question on Twitter. Did the Niners peak too early? And the answer to that is absolutely yes, they did. They peaked. People can say all they want that the Niners, they know it's every game is a 1 week season and that any opponent could beat you at any time. They say all the right things. Everybody's saying all the right things in the press conferences right now. Kittle, Purdy, Warner. But yet nobody has any answers. I just feel like this team got a sniff of their own success and everybody's paid and everybody's happy. And I feel like we're at a point right now where, like, I don't know, I feel like we're a team that acts as if we've accomplished things, but yet we've accomplished nothing in the last, 5 years or so. And yesterday was just an abysmal effort. If you listen to the Red and Gold Wrap last night with Tracy Sandler, she said the 49ers played with absolutely no energy yesterday. Like they just didn't show up. And what's sad is they had already lost 2 straight games coming into this one. And everybody talked about how we're going into the bye week, we're going to get things right, and then we're going to come out in the second half and do this, and that. Didn't happen. So personally, I think this team, my expectations of this team were way too big. I'm not saying that they can't make a second half push, but they have a lot of hard work in front of them. And Philly right now, if things keep going the way that it is, the NFC Championship is going to be back in Philly again. So the Niners have nobody to blame but themselves on this whole situation. There's no excuses, no alibis. They did this to themselves. Nobody pities you. Nobody cares. So yeah, I'm beyond pissed off.
So with that, we're all mad here, but we'll get over it. The sky will shine again, right? But can anyone here sit back and say that they did not hear during the 5-0, the 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, the talks that started happening about this team can go undefeated, this team can run the table, this team can make it to the Super Bowl. Oh, we're better than the 94 offense. All this was said. We might have even said it ourselves. I'm not going to point fingers and say, you said that. But guess what? There's been a lot of talk about this team because there's a lot of expectations on this team. This team from 2017 till now has had a lot of success, maybe more success than we should or other teams normally have in rebuilding situations. Now, we've seen it before where there's a quarterback change, a head coach change. We'll say the Eagles, for example. They get rid of McNabb and Andy Reid, and then they win a Super Bowl, right? With who? a quarterback that's not on their team or starting anywhere in the league, right? Is he even playing for anybody right now? So when we're looking at it like that, we do expect a lot because this team's had a lot of success and championships. It's been a long time since we've had a championship, so we hold them. Any little success, we hold them very hard to. And we've got to be like this because we're the staple of the NFL. We haven't won anything since like 30 years from now. Since now, the Cowboys, 29 years, and they're not doing anything either. The teams that have been doing good have been a handful of teams here and there that haven't won anything, and the Patriots. And people want to say, "Oh, the Patriots are." The Patriots have had a lot of help from referees over the years. There's too many gates to go through. There's too many here and there's. And it just seems funny. And now we see it with other teams that are getting help with their quarterback, getting calls our quarterbacks aren't getting. And it's not, it should be like this. Because if you throw a flag for every play, there's not really a game, right? But to sit here and say we didn't expect our team to lose, or to sit here and say we didn't expect our team to have adversity, when some people were complaining this team doesn't have adversity. I'd rather them lose now than in the playoffs. Everybody would rather lose now than in the playoffs. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. We've seen teams get really lucky at the end. We've seen teams go all the way and then decide to rest their starters right there at the end and then get cold. So is it better to go into the playoffs, going in 3 games in a row, or taking that week off and getting cold and then allowing another team like the New York Giants to come in and roll over you? We know it's happened before. So it's a good point with the Eagles. The Eagles could definitely be in that mix again. They definitely seem to keep adding to their arsenal of weapons. And I think that's one of the big things is the Niners, we want to be in that mix all the time, right? But we want to sit back and say we want it to be homegrown. We want it all to be our way, everything from the farm fresh, right? Fresh to the plate. It ain't happening here. Sometimes you got to go to the store and shop. And I'm telling you, if we go and we get Derrick Henry right now and Brian Burns, I don't care how many draft picks that is, we have a great chance of going to the Super Bowl. But it doesn't matter how many Super Bowl players you put on your team or athletic, they could be the best everywhere. You could have all LeBron James on your team, right? A bunch of 53 LeBrons, right? It ain't happening if you don't have the same coach and the coaching staff that influences your team and your team gets behind. Because right now it seems like we have a disconnect from the locker room, the head coach, the organization, the coaching staff, and we already know that the ownership. There's been a big, huge disconnect for a long time. Just as soon as he gets close, he takes like 5 steps back. You don't talk about, potentially going and getting Kirk Cousins or talk about craziness during the coaches' meetings before the offseason if you got the real deal on Brock Purdy. You don't facilitate certain conversations, or maybe you do, so people just don't know your hand, right? We got to keep everybody guessing. Real quick, let's take just a second. Let's run through this real quick. We got a bunch of people in the chat, and we appreciate you all. If you guys don't know about Steve-O, I don't know where you've been at. Steve-O's everywhere. Caitlin Long, great Niner supporter, friend of the family, friend of the show. We got Jason Niner Smash Massey. He's got a great show as well. Again, Steve-O, where you been at? If you don't know Steve-O, we're jumping down here. This is kind of funny. We got Jim Everett. That's when you made it big, right? When you got Jim Everett and somebody like Rudy coming into your chat. Shout out to you. This is a Niner content creator channel. We talk a bunch of 49er stuff. But when you got the people from LA who root for those horns and they're here, hey, we appreciate you. Randy Daytona, Shake and Bake, El Diablo. All right. Now let's go on. David Corona. And I don't know, if you guys haven't seen David Corona, you're really missing out. David Corona's got a really good vibe about him. He's really funny. He's on a lot of shows. Moving down this pipeline real quick, we got East Coast Red and Gold. Jess is the lady. You want to hear something cool? You want to hear good vibes? You want to be positive? You listen to Jess. This is the one that I'm interested in. Always Drip 805. I haven't seen you very often. Thank you for coming. Please like and subscribe to the channel. We talk 49ers and a lot of other stuff. And then we have Michael. Thank you for coming, man. Titans not letting Derrick Henry go. I know it's just a pipe dream, but if we was to get Derrick Henry, right, do you think we would have to throw the ball one more time this season? I mean, honestly, you got CMC in the back. You got Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry could run it right up the middle. CMC could
I
go
think
around
Derrick
the corner.
Henry's washed.
He could be, but he's making commercials in Tennessee, so they got to see something there still.
No,
That's another
according to
reason.
My brother thinks he's like, have you noticed he's just not the same player? And
they're struggling. They got a quarterback down there struggling, and they got a whole team.
Yep.
When you go and change the uniform colors multiple times during a franchise's history, you got problems right there. I mean, what are they? Dark blue? Are they blue? Are they baby blue? Are they the Houston Oilers? I mean, just pick a color, right? And
Right.
yeah, thank you all for coming. So, with that, guys, let's get back into it. David, what's your thoughts? If you could pick somebody, I know there's some people on defense that we could pick up, but is adding truly, just another player on this team going to change the mentality of the team? I don't think we have a bad mentality. I just don't think that we're gelling with the play calls, and that at least seems the vibes from the press conferences.
Well, from what I'm seeing, Steve Wilkes, he's up in the booth calling the game. Then they go in at halftime. They make adjustments, and the defense comes out. This is during a win streak, and they're better than they were. So it's like, okay, so you're talking to the players halftime face to face, and you're making the adjustments. So now I actually just read an article that Kyle Shanahan's going to talk to Steve Wilkes about being on the field and not in the booth. And I don't know how much of an impact that's going to make, but it would definitely be better to make in-game adjustments versus going at halftime and make the adjustments. But players to add, we don't know who's actually sellers yet. Kirk Cousins going down, that probably puts Minnesota in the sellers market.
I know they're making a move for Jameis Winston.
Are they?
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, it's kind of like I've seen their guard Urza Cleveland thrown out there as a possible 49ers target, but he has to be on the block to be a target, and I don't think that guy's on the block. But the Chicago Bears have an interesting guy. Our nickel corner Oliver, good tackler,
Awful coverage, man. Awful. God awful.
Set over 79% completion percentage against him.
Oh.
So we could definitely use an upgrade. Even Demo Lenore is below the league average a little bit, I believe. He's like early 60s. Travarius Ward is right at 60%. But, even he's an upgrade over Oliver. So, but there's this one guy Chicago has. We don't know what the price is going to be, but Jalen Johnson, he's allowing a little over 47% completion percentage against him. The last team they played, and the Bears did lose the game, but he got 2 interceptions. I think they threw at him 7 times, and he got 2 interceptions and a couple pass breakups. This is the type of guy we need. He's a boundary corner, but it's simple. Move Lenore inside to nickel.
That's the idea.
Yeah. I mean, or we could find a better nickel. We could keep Lenore on the outside. There are options here. A lot of people have us tied to Montez Sweat, which I do want to hear what you guys think about that. Get an expiring contract, possibly, have to extend a guy with our big contracts coming up. I just don't see that being feasible. But, there are some tweaks. Right now, we have to sit here for 2 weeks with a bad taste in our mouth. And I have a feeling that, our coach, Kyle, got his extension a little too early. That's just how I feel.
100%.
When it comes to comparing this team to the 94 team, like Bryant brought up, I actually said they need to win a Super Bowl. And then I'll compare them to the 94 team, because the 94 team won a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Oh, and one more thing, folks. This, as you can see, is incredibly old school.
That's awesome. Are you cold?
Well, my heater, like I got here probably
Mhm.
15 minutes before the stream because
Right.
I work and my heater is either on or off. So it's kind of cold in here, yeah.
Gotcha. I'm always warm for some reason, no matter what time of year. There's talk that they're not going to make moves. They asked Kyle during the press conference today. He didn't make it sound like the Niners are going to do anything at the trade deadline. I know they've had us connected to either Brian Burton. No, excuse me, not Brian Burns. I wish. Montez Sweat or Chase Young. Both of them, they said if they lost, would be maybe possibly on the move. And like you said, another corner. It was like they made it sound like the Niners might double dip in the trade market, right? I guess my question is, does it even matter? Will it help this team? I want to say it does, right? But I don't know, man. Like some of the problems this team has, like the missed tackles and just defensively, just not being able to rush the passer. Is one guy really going to change all that? This team is pretty talented. That's the thing. The Niners are a talented squad. They just are. They're underperforming. They have all the players, right? They kind of remind me of the Yankees. They got all the big contracts, all the top guys, but they have no chemistry when it comes to winning. And it looked like the Niners had all that chemistry for the first 5 weeks, and then the last 3 weeks, the games didn't go exactly the way they wanted them to go. The Niners, I call them front runners because they tend to play better when they can get the ball quickly, score, and then play defense in quick, short spurts where they get on the field, they get the team off the field, they come back in, they score a bunch of points. It's like when the Niners have to play a game that doesn't go exactly to script, they have all sorts of problems. The way their offense works with the type of players that they have. Me and my brother were talking about how Miami has the same issue. It's like they run these like archaic offenses where every piece being healthy matters so much. And if one piece gets pulled out of that equation, it throws everything off. Miami is the same way. It's like the Niners don't have the ability to be a good old fashioned drop back passing team like everybody else is in the league. And when they do become that team, they struggle. They are a crafted offense. Then Kyle has it crafted perfectly to where if it works the way it's supposed to every game, we win. Unfortunately, in NFL, you have other teams that play defense and get paid too. And it seems like anytime something like, doesn't go quite our way, one guy gets hurt, maybe one person isn't having a good game in that particular set of players, it throws the whole thing off. And it's just amazing. Like I think me and what's his name, 49er Mind talked about this, of like how Kyle, like, so when one guy gets hurt and it's like he can't adjust, he can't figure out how to refigure the game plan mid-game. It's like it completely just ruins him and he can't figure anything out. So I don't know, man. I want us to be active at the trade deadline, but it doesn't really guarantee that we're going to do anything and win anything after. I mean, like Niners have a tough stretch. They have a tough stretch. 2 times against Seattle, once against Philly. They go to Jacksonville. I mean, this is their easiest part of the schedule was behind them and they went 5-3. They should have been like, if they went into the bye this week at 6-2, I would have been happy. Even if we had it.
Okay, but let's look at this. Like, and I don't like cutting you off, but you know how it is. The Steelers. Did anybody really think we were going to beat the Steelers? I said so, but I think we both, the three of us here, I think I was the most, honestly, yeah, we can beat them, right? But through the whole offseason, you can go watch my videos. I was saying the Steelers, they are tough at home, and they got this record. When they're at home, they don't lose week 1. They don't lose their home opener, and that's the record you have to look at. We did it. Then we play the Rams. The Rams, who's Puka Nacua? That guy torched us, right? And we're supposed to always beat the Rams, but we know for the last couple of games they've been coming down pretty close to us. It's been a nail biter. Then look who we play, the Giants. Every time the Giants come to from New York to San Francisco, it's a battle. And sure, we started out a little rocky there, and they were blitzing the crap out of us. Purdy picked it up. Then we move on to the Browns. Well, where did we get? We went 5-0, right? So then the Cardinals were just beating the Cowboys, and they played us really tight, really, really tight. And that's a hard game too, with it being division. And then our fifth game, we go on and who was our fifth game? The Cowboys. We beat the Cowboys really bad. And then we started saying, oh, it's us against the world. But we had injuries up till that point. And then I think we were able to weather the storm and then beat the Cowboys. The Browns, nobody was saying the Browns were bad, but nobody was expecting to be that good without having, their quarterback, we're not going to say his name. It's not that important, Puddin' Pop, massage guy. We're just going to keep it like that. Then you move on to our next game, Kirk Cousins. Everybody wants to, dog Kirk Cousins because of his record on prime time, but our coach likes him. He knows how our coach coaches. He knows how our coach wants to see how a game goes through. We fumble. Whose fault is that? Is that Purdy's fault we fumbled? CMC. We're trying to feed him so much. Well, the reason we're feeding him so much is nobody else is stepping up. Nobody else is stepping up. You get Mason out there. He gets a couple snaps. Why is he not playing the whole game? Can he not block? I'm not in the locker room. I can't tell you that for sure. But there definitely seems to be some kind of disconnect with him being able to be a bell cow. Then you have TDP. Who? Our third round pick that we wasted. Did we waste it? No, we replaced it because we got rid of Trey Sermon, who was also a third round pick. Everybody's mad that we got a kicker with a third round pick, but we don't start third round picks. So, I mean, again, it's like, let's get rid of our picks. Let's go after some of these players that are veterans, that are known commodities, that are doing good on all these other teams. That it doesn't matter if these other teams want to go to the Super Bowl or not. We're going to go and buy these players because that's all they are is capital. We're going to go buy these players, plug and play them, win the Super Bowl this year, and not worry about it next year. And they want to try to take something and make something out of our third round pick or our comp picks. And that's something too. Why do we have so many comp picks? Because we keep letting all these coaches go? Maybe if we decide to pay these coaches instead of letting them go somewhere else, or these other players that were like, oh, we're going to go pinch them off of a practice squad and we're going to get a comp pick if they turn out to be any good.
Well, the Niners get comp picks because they have minority candidates in the building. So anytime a minority candidate leaves, they get a draft pick.
But they keep on doing that every year.
It's kind of, it's a little, it makes me feel weird. Like, people are like, somebody made a comment one time, a person I used to stream with that I don't like talking about. Like, oh, we just got to keep having these minority coaches and we keep getting ourselves third round picks. And it sounds really, really kind of cringe. Yeah. It's
not like it's not the way we want to build a team, right? We want to build a team because we get good players, we get coaches that want to stay here and not just jump ship because they want to go somewhere else. Well, if it's so good at San Francisco, let's win a chip now and then go. Right? Go somewhere else. But what, are you afraid that the opportunity is not going to be there? The opportunity is to win the Super Bowl. That should be every person in the building's opportunity and goal. You hire somebody and they say, oh, I just want to be here until I can get a head coaching job. We don't need you. We don't need you. We don't want you. When someone wants to take you from us, we want them to pry you from us, right? We want to be like, no, you're not taking our guy. And then at that time, we come back with an offer that you're not going to refuse. Coaches, the salary cap doesn't affect coaches. So again, for us to keep on letting these players just go and go, because these coaches and players, because the players, we let players go too, we get comp picks for them. So I'm just not down for building the team that way. I think we still have a good opportunity. I said 15-2. I have to change my prediction. 14-3, guys. That's it. We're winning everyone out. I'm not a homer. I just believe this team can they can get it done. We went so many games last season with a rookie unknown quarterback. This year, the tail's been told on him. No, we just have some injuries and we just have to go back to playing. I know you guys are going to hate it. 49er football. That's all we got to do. Just go back to playing 49er football. Run the ball. Quit thinking about scoring really quick. Let's chew up the entire quarter. Let's run the ball down their throat. And at the end of the day, I don't care if we score only 28 points and they score 10 or 17. We're winning. We're winning because we have the ball in our hand, and we're winning because we're playing 49er football. David, what's your thoughts?
That's exactly what we need to do. Run the ball, eat the clock, score points, keep our defense off the field as long as possible. And at this point, our defense hasn't looked good. Our offense hasn't looked good. You know, our punter is currently looking good. But, you know, the more he's out there, the worse the offense is doing. Let's be honest here. But at this point, you know, our team just doesn't. We're not playing. We're not playing 49er football. We're not. You know, our defense. I was watching some of the film from this last, and I did see a stunt or two, but we're still not doing the stuff that was working last year. Bring in that edge to rush for a defensive tackle. You know, they're not pulling Armstead or Hargrave out. They're leaving them both in the rush the passer. Right now, this stuff ain't working.
They're getting gouged in the running game too. They get absolutely
Big
no
time.
push. They get no push up the middle. The edge, both. I mean, Bosa. Everybody's like, "Oh, he's been double teamed." There's been a good majority of time where he has been single teamed, and he's just not winning. He's just not winning. This defensive. I don't know if it's a disconnect between the defensive coordinator and the players, but at the end of the day, players got to play. You got to play, man. You can't blame coaches. You can't blame the refs. Blaming the referees. My nephew always makes a good point. If you beat a team the way you should, and you're winning the way you should, and you're scoring a lot of points, you don't have to leave the game in the hands of people that are imperfect, flawed, and possibly betting against you. Everyone's like, well, the league ain't fixed. There's always a chance that there's a little connection between sports and gambling. Let's not, but I don't want to say that that's anything to do with the Niners' struggles. The Niners got fat and happy after Dallas. They went and got punched in the mouth by Cleveland. Then they went on the road to Minnesota and decided that defense isn't important and that they don't have to play it. And then you mix that with the fact that right now, the quarterback, he's having a little bit of a early career situation where he's struggling right now. We knew this was going to happen. We talked about it in the offseason, or at least I did, where I said they're going to come a point in time during the season where Purdy's going to look like a second-year quarterback who was drafted last. Like, they're going to get tape on him. They're going to be able to, run some whatever they're running, whatever type of defensive movement that they're making before snap to throw him off or whatever. And he's got to do a better job of holding on to the ball. I mean, that throw on the sideline, I don't know what he was thinking. And then the sack at the end, letting the ball go once again. I don't know how small his hands are or whatever, what's going on with that, but oh my God, it's I see the 49ers getting into the playoffs, but I don't think the 49ers are winning the NFC West this year. I think the Niners are going to win about 10 games, and they're going to go in as a wild card team. And who knows, maybe they make a run to the Super Bowl like the Giants did, and we could all, if someone like me could shut up and be proven wrong, and I will be totally fine with that. I just see a lot of issues on this team that I don't know if they're fixable right now during the season. I don't.
That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping for. Because if we go back to like the Kaepernick Super Bowl run, right? He had 2 years where we almost got it done. The first year we won it in Atlanta. Okay, so we did go on the road and get to win an NFC Championship game and make it to the Super Bowl. The second year we go on the road, we play Carolina, then we go and play Green Bay in a very cold, both games very cold. Then we come to Seattle, and we know how that ended up. There is an NFL YouTube video out called Rigged. You can find it. They keep putting it down. They keep putting it back up because it's true. There's several moments in the game where you can see, the clock is supposed to be 40 seconds, the play clock, and the Seahawks get 60 seconds. There's multiple points in the game where they show, hey, this happened, this happened, this happened. So Aaron's very, very, very true. There are people out there who might be betting on the game. We're not going to say you are or you aren't. We're not here to say that ref did it that game, but it happens. It's not nice. It's not nice, and it happens. But right, we're supposed to live and let go, and we're not supposed to get all worked up about it. Well, people spend a lot of money on memorabilia. They spend a lot of money in going to the games for parties. People paint their car. Some people name their animals after the team. there's so much that goes into this, and it's just a game, right? Well, there's a lot of people who bet on this game too. So sometimes your team's not going to win, and it doesn't matter if we have the best team or the worst team. Randy brings up a good point. The schedule was brutal. And when you first look at the schedules, that's what's fun. It's like, let's do an early season breakdown of the schedule. Who do you think's good? Who you know, really, truly know, right? Because at the end of the game, sometime right after the first play, somebody could get hurt. Preseason, somebody could get hurt. Trades happen. So these players, these teams get all changed up. We could start out on paper being the best team out there and then get wiped on the floor, right? Just wiped off the floor, just off the table, everything, right? So right now we have played some pretty. Did anybody think the Cardinals were going to play us as heavily as they did? Did we think Pittsburgh was going to be a brutal game? Yes. Did we think the Rams were going to lay down on us? Well, didn't the Rams play the Seahawks and beat the Seahawks week 1? So the Rams were they were looking to play, so all these games, it's any given Sunday. I think we do have the best team out there. I think it is something that we can look forward to, is that the team's going to wake up. They are going to shake this off, because one thing, we don't really come out of the bye week and win games. And I was saying this earlier, how we went back to Ohio and we stayed back there for a while. But when we come back, we usually lose that first home game that we come back to, right? Well, we're playing 4 games this year, 4 teams coming off a bye week. And we're going to play another team coming off a bye week, if I'm correct, when we come off of our bye week. So it's not like we're getting any rest. And then the next team is the Jaguars and then the Cardinals. Those are the next 2 bye weeks that we have to worry about. Anything can happen. And you could say, oh, this team, we should blow them out of the water. Does anybody know the name of the Chicago Bears quarterback? I bet the Raiders do, So, you know what I mean? Like, how about the Panthers, right? Their quarterback come out on 1. Or how about the Titans? Their quarterback the other day come out on 1. So sometimes players step up, and maybe they're right. Maybe
Tyson
we have
Badgett.
Yes. But the point is like, he's not a household name, right? It's one of those things. We don't know how they're gonna who's in or what's happening. We know there's been some injuries, and maybe still Steve Wilkes coming out of the booth, being on the sidelines will help. Maybe he'll hear the players and be able to interact. But we don't need to even take stock in that. If they do make a big splash move, just trust in the process. Hopefully they make somebody that, because the Eagles are making moves. Everybody's making moves right now, and it's like you're hearing about it. But you're hearing that, the Niners might do something. They might get a defensive lineman. They might get a quarterback. And then, like Aaron said, if you listen to the press conference, Kyle talks 2 ways. He talks like, yeah, I think we got everybody in the building. But then he talks like, if there's an ability or the opportunity to get better, then, no one's, not safe from being traded, so you got to look at it like he's playing his hand of cards. I'm really excited, guys. I know we got a bye week. Hopefully everybody will calm down and things are acting, but it's about the locker room. And you guys have said it. We've said it. I think a lot of people have heard it. We lost the Super Bowl in 2019 and still partied like we won it. Okay. I don't know. I mean, like, I think the 3 of us could be working together and, something happened like that. I don't think I would be coming to the company party afterwards. I mean, like, I'm just not that guy, David's seen it. We've done streams together and we've lost the game, and I don't really want to talk too much after the game. I'm just not that excited to be around people, and I need to have my moment, like not go and sit in the corner and cry or anything, but sometimes you just need that moment to chill out. And I think this bye week really does that for us. Aaron, I've been talking. Let me give it back to you. Tell me what your thoughts are. Tell me 3 positives that you can take out of the 3 losses and the bye week coming up. And I know that's going to be hard for you.
3 positives coming out of the losses. This is going to sound crazy, but as bad as Brock's been struggling in the end of games, the positive I've gained is that he is able to make a lot more throws than a lot of us thought he could. And he in the last, it's funny, he's been playing well during the games until the end, which is not the greatest sign if you have a guy that can't be clutch. But he's shown that he's more than just a placeholder. Unfortunately, people who turn the ball over a lot and make mistakes in clutch situations, eventually they're not going to be around long. So I never thought Brock was the second coming of anybody. And I knew he would have some struggles, but I definitely didn't expect him to be the way he's been in the last couple games in clutch situations. I didn't think that they would be too big for him. And for some reason, he hasn't been able to make any plays out of it. But to me, he's shown me ability that he can make a lot of throws around the field and be accurate. Second thing, positive is that Christian McCaffrey's really, really good, and we need to keep giving him the ball because nobody else seems to want to run the ball. And I guess my third positive would be the Niners will positively know if they have to fire Wilkes if the defense continues to play bad. They will positively get rid of his ass before the season's over. Someone is going to fall on the sword for this team this year if they fail to meet expectations. And unfortunately, I think that guy is not going to be Brock Purdy. It's not going to be Nick Bosa. It's not going to be anybody else. It's going to be strictly on Steve Wilkes. They're going to let the media blame him. They're not going to, you know what I mean? Like, players can say all they want that it's about the players, not the coach. But in the NFL, someone has to get blamed for failure. And if the Niners figure out a way to keep screwing themselves and losing games and not playing any defense at all, I mean, none, like not tackling, not sacking the quarterback, not stopping the run, just bad, horrible defense with super duper amounts of talent. Like the talent and the effort don't make any sense. I am big city man says, well, you're one loss away from me freaking out. I'm right there with you. If they lose another game, like they go 5-4 off the bye week, panic button needs to be pressed. Like, can't keep saying, well, we'll get there eventually, because you're going to run out of games. This team is making their job really, really hard this year. They're going to put an insurmountable task in front of them again, like they keep doing every single year by starting slow. And they're going to crap out again at the NFC Championship game and not be able to finish. And that's all on the players. That's all on the players on the field. They did this to themselves. Nobody to blame. I still think Philly's the best team in the NFL right now. Philly and Kansas City are two best teams. The reason I say that is
is that with Taylor Swift at the Kansas City game or
no,
without?
I'm just based on teams that have recently won Super Bowls, that have really good teams that figure out a way to win. And it might not be pretty and it might not be a blowout, but those two teams, Kansas City and Philadelphia, are still the best teams until they are dethroned. The Niners can't claim to be the best team when they're still sniffing a Super Bowl and it's been almost 30 years and they keep coming up short in the NFC Championship game. You can't have that mantle, especially the way you've played the last 3 weeks. Like, you're a fraud. You're fake. You're not the best team. The best teams figure out a way to win the game in Cleveland. The best teams figure out a way to win the game in Minnesota. Maybe you lose to the Bengals because they have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, who I picked to win the MVP this year. So that's not really, like, out of all the games, this one was the one that was less surprising, simply because how good. I mean, Joe Burrow to me is either second or third in the NFL as far as how, like, the best quarterbacks. He's that good. Like, the Niners played an elite level Super Bowl caliber quarterback yesterday. There's a difference between,
he has been to the Super Bowl before, and he's been to the conference championship a couple of times too, and he's gotten really close to Kansas City. The reason I bring up that with Kansas City is they did lose yesterday. They lost pretty horrible, and I believe Taylor Swift was not there. So if that has anything to do with anything,
the Broncos, we wish for their downfall every year, and they always end up finding a way to make it back. Every year, it's like, no, this is the year Kansas City's going to fall. And I'm like, no, it's not. As long as they have Mahomes at quarterback, they're going to have a chance to win every single year. He's that damn good. I hate to say it. I don't want to say it. I hate admitting it. But when you have an elite quarterback like Mahomes, every year is your year.
He's my fantasy football quarterback. He doesn't seem to be playing the way I would hope he would be playing right now. The Chiefs are definitely not the same team that they were when they had Tyreek Hill. But they haven't lost to the Broncos since 2015. They went on 16-game winning streak. This would have been 17-0. They just couldn't get it done. It was like a baseball score out there. What is it 3-9 or something like that? I don't know. I mean, I think every team has their ups and their downs, and sometimes like you see some teams come to play. Didn't Detroit beat Kansas City, or they come really close to it, and then they just got wiped off the field by the Ravens the other day? So I think right now we are going through our tough times, and for anybody again who said we want to see this team, with adversity and struggle and see where, well, here you are. We got a bye week to come back. We got some corrections that we need to make, and we'll see what happens. David, your final thoughts, and we're going to get out of here. Guys, we're going to keep it a little bit closer to under an hour. Got a Halloween party to go to. I'm wearing my costume right now. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
My final thoughts are this play needs to be got right. We need to get back to playing 49er football, run the ball, and play defense, which, what needs to happen with our defense? Our defensive coordinator needs to get down on the field and talk to the players and see what's happening, not from the booth, from the field. And yeah, we don't know what's going to happen trade deadline. That's Tuesday, I believe. I don't know what time. Maybe you guys do.
Probably 4 p.m. like usual, like everything else.
Okay. So
thank you, Randy.
So we should know pretty quick what's going to happen if we even do anything. But at this point, our punter has been our best player the last 3 games.
That's so lame.
I know.
Hey, special teams matter, and they don't call
special teams does matter. It does.
They call
that needs to be fixed too. He needs to not punt so much. The less he does, the more the offense is on the field. No offense, Mitch. You're a good punter. But the less he does, the more our offense does. And we need to score some points. It's literally that simple. Score more points than the other team. Right now, we're not looking good.
17 points, 3 straight weeks.
2 weeks with this bad taste of a loss in my mouth, though.
Warvin, is it Darwin's Raven? He says games getting easier at the end, but wait, no, he was talking about how they looked that the games were actually the easiest now, and they're getting more tough. Listen, the Niners, the one thing that, as much as I love the 49ers now, and I'm a fan of the team for 30 years, over 30 years, you can't hide your quarterback, you can't hide your defense. Eventually you have to have those players or that side of the ball figure out a way to win you a game in the playoffs to get you back to a Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl. This whole thing where we have to play football a certain way and protect our quarterback, and we can't have him throw too much, so we got to run the ball a ton. And when we run the ball a ton, we could also kill the clock because our defense sucks. Eventually you're going to face a team like we did yesterday who has elite players all over the field, and you either show up, play defense, or you get your ass whooped. And yesterday they got their ass whooped. Straight up. Their players were better than our players yesterday. You can't hide. That's the one problem I've had with the 49ers over the last decade or so, depending on if it was Alex Smith, Kaepernick, or now Purdy or Garoppolo, is we have to play this really weird, we got to hide the quarterback. We got to run the ball a ton. We got to protect our defense so they don't get exposed. What is that? If you're an elite team and a Super Bowl caliber team, nobody should have to be hidden. The quarterback should be able to throw 45 times a game and not have to be worried about being exposed. The defense should be able to be on the field, all field, and not worry about being exposed. That's the mark of a great team. This team is really, really good. They have a ton of good players, but for whatever reason, it ain't working, man. And they have a chance to fix it going forward after the bye week. 2 things are going to happen. They're either going to figure out a way and get themselves into a deep playoff run again, or they're going to fall flat on their face. And if they fall flat on their face, I'm guarantee you they're going to fire Wilkes or somebody. It's sad. They should not be 5-3 right now. I'd say 7-1 or whatever the record is, because I think the Cincinnati game, a lot of us picked that as a loss, including myself, I think. So no more hiding. Can't hide your quarterback. Can't hide your defense. We got to stop playing this crap where we have to hide everybody because we want to overexpose them. Like that's part of football, man. You have to be on the field. So I don't know.
All right, real quick, guys. Shout out to Tommy Huxley. You guys don't know, if you see him at the party, he's the camel with 2 humps. That's correct. You ever see those horses costumes that they put them together?
Oh wait,
Tommy,
I was like, what are you talking?
Tommy's the camel, okay? And if you don't know about Tommy, you should definitely listen to him. He's everywhere. And
Tommy Huxley.
Like this one better. So, guys, it's going to happen. Things happen. Wins and losses happen. The sky is not raining. Well, it could be. It just depends on the day of the week, right?
We have good weather over on my side of the country,
right? It depends. Where we're playing, but the Niners are going to be playing Jacksonville. We haven't played Jacksonville a whole lot. I think we played them I think we beat them 6 times and they beat us twice. I think we've only played them 8 times. I got to look that up. But they do have the quarterback with the best hair. He is one of the premier quarterbacks in the league, the younger one coming up. When, we don't see Patrick Mahomes anymore, I got a feeling we're still going to see Trevor Lawrence. This is a good game for the Niners to get back, get right, and let's see Purdy come back out. If he's not the man, next man up. But, guys, thank you all for coming. We're going to get out of here. Aaron has a great channel.
If we lose to Trent Bulk, I will wear a brown paper bag with eyeballs and a mouth cut out for the Niners coast to coast screen.
Yeah, so. we can't lose to Belky and that horse face quarterback, man. We got to figure out a way to beat those guys, man. Like,
don't do that, guys. I'm telling you, Trevor Lawrence, the horse face or not, he's got the best hair, and it can go with any face.
Listen, coming from a guy who ain't pretty, right, I can tell you when someone ain't pretty, and he ain't pretty.
But,
just saying. I'm just playing. I'm messing around.
We don't just play against Trevor Lawrence. We play against the whole Jaguars. We can beat the Jaguars. And, the good thing about it is we got a week to prepare. So, guys, stay faithful. We'll be back here next Monday, and it'll probably be with Ty. Ty wasn't here with us today, but we'll be
feel better, Ty,
to have him here next time. David has a channel. Please go check out David's channel. Like and subscribe to all of our channels so you can get us with the rotation. Thank you again, everybody. Big City Man, Randy, Bebop, Always Drip 805, Levi, Darwin's Raven. Thank you so much, Steve-O. You guys are the best. Every one of you guys. Tommy, again, he's the camel. So, guys, with that, have a happy Halloween. Don't eat too much candy. And go Niners.
Go Niners and F the Lambs. You lost, too.
That's right.